All right, everybody, welcome back to the New York Sports Take, episode number 11, take number 2. Some technical issues last time around, but here we are. We are ready to go and talk shop a little bit with these football teams, along with the Knicks as well. Today, I am joined alongside my good buddy, I met all the way back at St. Dominic High School on Ansta Street many a years ago. That's Tim Fitzpatrick. Tim, man, a lot going on in New York sports right now. How you doing? How you feeling?
Doing good, man. How are you? I'm happy to be here, man. Let's do it.
Yeah, no, it's great to have you on. We had your brother on for a few episodes. He did the first episode with me. The pilot episode went really well. Had him on once then since. Talked Jets trade deadline and some other news with that. So, of course, I had to get you on. I know you're a very passionate fan as well. And where else can we start other than with the two local football teams and the New York Giants? A tumultuous day in Giants land. They finally let their defensive coordinator, the much maligned Shane Bowen, was fired earlier this morning, coming off the heels of the Giants' sixth straight loss. And Tim, I felt before we get into the game or anything, I just feel like it has to be addressed. Obviously, you're a Jets fan, so I know you're probably more into that or whatever. But with Shane Bowen and with this defense with high-flying expectations going into the season, people were saying arguably the scariest pass rush in football with Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, Sexy Dexy. He was coming off a career year where he had like 11 sacks in 9 games. Him up the middle, manning the nose position, bringing in Abdul Carter, who has this gold jacket potential. Everybody was so high on this unit going into the year. They've underperformed tremendously, not only the defensive line, but some of the high-paid, high-draft pick guys in the secondary as well. Altogether, it's just been a complete, utter mess for this defensive unit, and it had to be done. It was just a matter of if they let him go mid-season or they waited to the end of the year. Everybody saw the writing on the wall with this guy. I was honestly shocked that he was brought back for another year this season in of itself. I thought that he was going to be one and done after the defense was generally disappointing last season as well. So we all kind of saw this coming with Bowen. Just what are your thoughts as to does it even matter at this point in time? And if it does, what's next for the Giants? How many wins do you think they have left?
To be honest, I don't really think it matters. I think it's a Giant thing. I saw a stat the other day. They have been up in 5 fourth quarters by 10 points, and they lost every single one of those games.
Yeah, no, it's kind of nuts, man.
It's a New York thing, man. Like, it's just like I can just tell, like, the energy is just off for the Giants. Their player, like, man, you know what, man? They just can't find a way to win. At the end of the day, man, that's what it comes down to. Like, I'm personally not a big Jalen Hurts fan at all. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think he's that skilled. He finds a way to win. I'll give him credit when credit's due, man. And I mean, they should have fired him probably like in the second game of the season. Like, he's horrible, man. He's like they actually have like just say, if you just like name out their fucking starters, like they have some talent, man. Like that guy from they got some Thibodeau, the Penn State guy. Like they got some talent. It's just like. I think it's just a New York thing, man. Like, you just know at the end of the year, like, they're just not going to win games. Like, just Giants fans' expectations were them making the playoffs this year with Dart, and they suck.
Yeah, they really do, dude. It's crazy. You mentioned those stats, and there's a lot. They are all mind-boggling. The Giants have blown they've blown 5 10-plus point games this year, which is tied for the most in NFL history in a full season. And we still got, whatever it is, 6 or 7 games left to go. And they've blown 10-plus point leads 5 times, 3 of those times in the third quarter, which is it's really hard to wrap your head around. the report was, and you saw this with Brian Dable when he was let go, that they were ready to let, excuse me, Brian Dable's job was as good as done after that Denver game when, with 9 minutes left in left in that game, they led by 27 points and they blew that. Brian Dable was as good as gone at that point in time. We talked about this on other episodes and whatever. Report was John Mara and Giants ownership, cooler heads prevailed. They said, hey, let's just let this play out the next couple of weeks, see if we could get some wins, get this thing back on the right track. Didn't happen. 3 weeks later, I think it was, Brian Dable was fired. Now, just 2 weeks after that, Bowen is out. And it's just a pound of flesh for fans, right? Like, it doesn't really matter at this point in time. The Giants are 2-10. The season is all but over. They will miss the playoffs now for 14 out of the last 16 years, dating back to when they won the Super Bowl. Jets is 15 straight, so not much better for our football team. Actually worse. But yeah, man, it's really nuts. So just zooming in on the game a little bit, the score's 27. Did you watch this game?
I did.
Scores 27-17 Giants. About 12 minutes left to go in the game. Lions end up scoring the last 17 in this game. And Devin Singletary stuffed in the backfield, 4-yard loss on third down. So now it's decision time for Mike Kafka. You either go for the chip shot field goal, put the game in your defense's hands, which has, I don't even know what the word is, it's worse than struggled, has completely and utterly failed to close out games in the final minutes when relied upon. Nobody can make the big play. Nobody can get the sack. Nobody can do what it takes on that defense. So you either put it in their hands in the waning minutes of that game, up 6 points, and take the field goal, or you go for it, try and end it right then and there with 4th and 6. And that was ultimately the route that Kafka went down, having seen all the blown leads that the defense have just endured regularly. So, yeah, they went the aggressive way. It didn't work from the 6-yard line. Jameis went for it. He threw the ball in the back of the end zone. I forget who the intended target was, but it just got batted away, and that was it. And, yeah, so and I understand this. With that being said, also something to weigh in on the decision is you take the chip shot field goal, then you kick it off, and the Lions, they're working from the 30-yard line or regular field position to start a drive, whereas you're pinning them all the way back and going for it, chance to end the game, and if you don't get it, they're all the way back at whatever it is, the 5 or 6 yard line. So, yeah, that's something else to consider as well. But still, I'll say this, Tim, and we're going to get your take on this. I didn't hate the call in that situation. I have bigger problems with just lack of execution, not having Dexter Lawrence on the play in overtime, which is the next sequence of the game that we'll talk about. But I didn't really take big issue with the play call at that point in time. You're trying to be aggressive. Mike Kafka's shown in his 2 weeks here as he's taken over for head coach. That's the way he's going to go for it. He was uber aggressive on 3rd and 4th downs against Green Bay. Sometimes it worked for him, sometimes it didn't, and that's the direction he decided to go there. I've heard people disagree with it, but I didn't really have a problem with it. Your defense, week in Denver, in Chicago, hell, against the Cowboys in week 2, the defense, time and time out, can't make the play and put the game away. So take matters into your own hands with your offense. That's been brilliant. I don't mind the play call. How about you?
See, I think just because, you see the Giants' record, right? He's kind of thinking nothing to lose mentality. We score a touchdown, we're up 10. Way better odds of winning than just up 3. I actually respect the play call. I thought it was ballsy. I would have done the same thing if they have a better record. I probably would have taken the field goal, but it's kind of like they really have nothing to lose, to be honest. Like, they're playing the Lions. Like, they're obviously a very good offensive team. They needed those points. It didn't end up working, but I thought it was the right move, to be honest. And I forgot to tell you, Matt, I actually met a practice player on the Giants. He played for the Giants on the practice and the Bills. His name's Casey Rogers. And the biggest thing between, he told me, he played for the Giants for about 2 weeks and the Bills for about 3. He got waived for both. He said the biggest thing was during practice, the energy. The energy at the Giants, everyone was down. Nobody was high-fiving each other. He said everyone was just all about them, trying to get their spot. There wasn't really a team. There was no team bonding, he said, during that 2 weeks. The team doesn't go out. The team doesn't hang out together. They don't really talk. He said with the Bills, everybody was fired up during practice. The music was bumping, high fives all around, big ups. He said the energy was up, the morale was up. He said they were just way more confident, and it was just more like, if somebody fell, they would all sprint, help him up. He was actually just shocked by the difference, and I was like, you could tell it by the record. And Josh Allen's a great guy.
What's funny about that, I saw a clip of Josh Allen speaking today. He was speaking at his old college, Wyoming, where he was at. I guess it wasn't, I saw the clip today. It came out after that Thursday night loss to the Texans, and what a crazy game that was. Bills gave themselves a chance. They converted a 4th and 27, go down the field, but came up short. They buried themselves early in that game, didn't really generate enough offensively. So watching, and then I see this clip of him at Wyoming, and he talked about this. So impressive. He goes, I wish I could say, just being out there, dominating the football field, being a competitor, I wish I could say I'm doing football for somebody else or for a greater thing. It's no, I'm doing it for me. I put this all on my shoulders. I love football. He must have said, just laid it out there 3 or 4 times throughout this monologue. I love football. He loves the sport. He loves the competition. I'm sure that... Oh, and it looks like we may have lost Tim. All right, everybody, we're going to see how this plays out. Got cut off a little bit over there as we were discussing the Giants, and then Tim had told me about somebody he met, Casey Rogers over there. Back to my point about Josh Allen, though, is that being an uber competitor, and I just heard it was amazing. He said that it's weird and it's a little sick, but part of the reason that fuels him and keeps him going and his love for football is a feeling like the feeling he had the day after the Texans loss. Being battle-tested, losing, and having to be resilient and pick himself back up. Obviously, Josh Allen, and I thought to myself, man, well, you usually get a lot of that, especially come January, because of all the heartbreak that the Bills have endured, losing, coming short of the Super Bowl so many years in a row over there in Buffalo, but that's just part of being a competitor, and it just feels like, Tim, there's not a lot of competitive juice in terms of this Giants defense. I do want to talk about some silver linings, though, because we could just beat it to a pulp, how bad it was. And, last thing regarding the game. So Jahmyr Gibbs to start overtime. But anyway, Lions, easy, predictable little zone defense from Shane Bowen. Lions are dinking and dunking it upfield. They've worked themselves to around the 40-something yard line. Jake Bates, of course, hits the 59-yarder to send the game into OT. And then in overtime, all it took was one play. Jahmyr Gibbs, who, by the way, if you're a Jahmyr Gibbs fantasy owner, you were very, very thrilled with his performance yesterday. I think he had 55 points. He went untouched, 69 yards into the end zone. That put Detroit ahead for good. With the new overtime rules, the Giants had an opportunity to go down the field and try and tie it, but Jameis Winston took a sack from Aiden Hutchinson, who was pretty quiet all day. I think Jermaine Illuminor did a really nice job of keeping him down for the most part throughout that game. But yeah, there was Gibbs, 69-yard house call, untouched. I forget who it was. The Giants' defensive end, something Robertson, whatever. He took a double block, and it was like they hit the hole. Penei Sewell and whatever blocked him up. Gibbs hits the hole. There he goes. Sayonara. See ya. Good night, Saigon. And it's embarrassing, man. Dexter Lawrence not on the field during that play. He was banged up all day long. He was very limited in action, barely played any run snaps, was pretty much preserved for only pass snapping situations. They didn't run him out there on run snaps, and he wasn't out there then, and it cost him as one of the depth pieces for the Giants just got a double block, and it was a big problem. The Giants' run defense obviously been an issue that's plagued them not just this year, but pretty much like the past 3 years. It's just been so bad. And and then it comes back to bite them there. Just another gut wrencher. Tim, I gotta say, we're gonna talk about the Jets, smoothly transition into that in just a few moments. But from a Jet fan perspective, I mean, it's been a tough year. I think we had all higher expectations about the team, but I would say after the loss to Miami, which was actually a winnable game, Braylon Allen fumbling the ball at the 1 yard line, that was a killer. After that Miami game, Tim, it really felt like the season was just about all wrapped up. No matter what happens from there, maybe whatever, we win more games, maybe some good things can happen, but we're not going to the playoffs. We're not going to be in my 3 keywords of the season in the Hunt graphic. Going into the later week, going into December and the later, that was just kind of off the table after that. So we don't have to worry. It's complete rebuild, revamp. We're trying to win some games, while at the same time, the main thing at this point in time is just evaluating players and seeing how they fit into next year's scheme and system and personnel, and that's really what it's about at this time, and we're going to talk about that. But as far as the Giants go, and it's now about that for them too, but there was so much hope coming off of some signature wins against Super Bowl competitors in the Eagles and the Chargers. Crazy loss from the Eagles yesterday, by the way, on America's Game of the Week, blowing that 3-score lead themselves to Dallas. Unbelievable game. And the emergence of these superstar kids, Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo, and how good they look, and just the way in which they lost games, just how emotionally draining would that be for a fan to just have to sit and see that week in and week out?
It's very, 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 very. Every week, you got high expectations and same result. I mean, it's definitely mentally tough. It's definitely mentally challenging. Especially you're fired up for Jackson Dart, Scatterbo. You see Scatterbo go down, your heart's just drops. Then you see Dart with a concussion. I mean, man, the Giants, they can't catch a break, man. I mean, they just really can't. They've been in a lot of games. They realistically they could have won. I hate to say it, but 6 or 7 games.
Yeah.
It's just 6 or 7 games could have went either way. It's just a slap to the face every single week for Giants fans, man. That's how I would bestly describe it. A slap to the face.
Yeah, exactly. It's disappointing, and you're completely spot on with it's. They're 2-10. They stink. They're horrible. Yes, they do stink. They made their own bed, and this is what they have to lay in at this point in time. The blown leads are on the coaching, and coaching is part of the team, and players have come up short. I mean, seriously, that defensive line has really underperformed. Between Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence, and Kayvon Thibodeau all have a combined 3.5 sacks. That's just not cutting it. I understand the QB pressures from Abdul Carter have been there, and Kayvon's been banged up, and Lawrence is still enduring a lot. Excuses, okay? These guys aren't getting to the quarterback, and they got close in Chicago a ton of times. They got close, but they couldn't bring them down, and that's part of the disappointment. You got to wear that on your shoulders. Players got to take accountability for that. It's just not good enough. You got Brian Burns out there. He's one of the leaders in sacks with 13. Outside of that, nobody's been able to bring down the quarterback. That is a major problem with this roster right now. So underperformance is definitely way in. But man, when you reflect on this season, should have won the Denver game. Should have, barring 5 turnovers against an abysmal Saints team in a row, you win that game. You should have won the Cowboys game. You should have definitely won in Chicago, up 2 scores. Should have won yet. Like, we don't even have to give them all these games, right? Because, like I said, they made their own bed. They lost these games themselves. But let's give them the Denver game and pick your poison, either Chicago or yesterday. Let's give them one of those. They're probably going to win a few more games down the stretch here. They got the Vikings, who are all banged up. They got Washington, who they should beat. Washington's a mess without Jaden Daniels. It's not a good team. It's still a mediocre team, but they're not the first team eliminated from the playoffs, and they finished the year with 7 or 8 wins, or 9 wins, a respectable amount of wins. And that's just not going to happen just because of these killer, costly mistakes and lack of guys making plays at the end of the game. And yeah, I mean, again, this is the most entertaining 2-10 football team I've ever seen in my life. They're the first team eliminated from the playoffs, but Jameis was unbelievable yesterday, and the offensive line has been amazing. We're talking about an offensive line that ranked near the bottom of the barrel in terms of grading last year and how they graded out. They were 30th last year going into this week, according to PFF, just overall offensive line metrics. They were 11th. So they've done a lot of things well. They've improved that. John Michael Schmitz looks so much better. Illuminor was good yesterday, only the 1 sack to Hutchinson at the end there, but he's vastly improved. Andrew Thomas has been healthy. He's obviously been the centerpiece of the whole thing. When he's healthy, it just makes such a difference. Jameis was amazing. The 2 trick plays were unbelievable, Tim. I mean, how about that? To start the game, the flea flicker to start the game, Singletary going back to Jameis finding a wide open Wandell downfield. And then the Gunnar Olszewski play. I love Gunnar Olszewski. He reminds me of Braxton Berrios, who we all remember his days with the Jets. Any thoughts on those trick plays? Those were insane.
I thought they were awesome, man. Especially, Winston not only catching that ball, making a defender miss. I mean, he's a big guy, man. Like, that was a nice play. And honestly, I thought the offensive coordinator did a really good job. I really did. I thought he had a great game plan. He stuck to it. He wasn't, what he was? He was not repetitive, man. You rarely saw the classic Jets where they run the ball 3 times in a row. I didn't see any of that. I saw trick plays. I saw confidence in Jameis Winston, man. I mean, give the ball to Singletary, back to win. I mean, it's just crazy, man. I wasn't bored at all watching that game. That game was great to watch, man. Really.
Yeah, that's one thing. Yeah, that's one thing that I was very impressed with. Just these last couple of weeks from Mike Kafka. Good game plan in the Green Bay game too, right? Like they have an opportunity. I didn't even mention that in the games that they should have won. I'm not going to say they should have won that game, but they could have. If if Jalen Hyatt finishes his route in the back of the end zone, you never know. Jameis finds him there. They go for 2. They win the game. So great game plan that game. Obviously not having Dart, the way that they shifted to leaning a little bit more into the ground game, utilizing the backs and Tracy and Singletary, really worked out for them. They had near 150 yards of rushing offense in that game, and then in this game, they stayed true to that, and they were just once again. And I don't have the numbers on this exactly, but the opening drives for the Giants have been phenomenal. They are consistently going out on the first drives, and they just look so ready to go. The drop back passing game, the passing structure is right on point. No matter who's been under center for them, no matter who the coach is, no matter what, with Brian Dable a couple weeks ago before he got fired, and then these past 2 weeks with Kafka, the opening drives have been executed to a T. The game scripts have been perfect. It's really worked out. And yeah. I mean, the Lions are one of the best teams at limiting explosive plays. Jameis goes out there yesterday, 11 plays for over 20 yards, 360 passing yards. The 2 trick plays were absolutely brilliant, so well executed. You mentioned his size and his frame, the stiff arm, the toughness to get into the end zone on the second trick play. it was truly mesmerizing, and I give them a lot of credit for that. There's a lot of renewed hope, especially on the offensive side of the ball going into this team for next year. You can't doubt it. As big as a mess as it's been this year, and as much of a indictment as that is on the coaching and some roster construction, and there's a lot of holes to fill in here. They're scoring this amount of points and having this sort of offensive productivity with B and C list receivers and weapons, with Wandale Robinson and Theo Johnson and Gunnar Olszewski making a big play yesterday. They're doing it with that and a third-string quarterback. So, and then you have your superstar quarterback and this star third-round pick and Cam Scattermoo ready to come back next year. The future is really bright offensively for this team. They're going to score a lot of points going forward. They just have a lot of other holes to fill in terms of the rest of the roster and obviously the search for a long-term fixture at head coach. And yeah, so 2-10, first team to be eliminated from the playoffs, the New York Giants. But Tim, I don't think it would be too wild of a guess to say that the Jets are not too far behind them from having a little X to their name in the standings columns, and that would be our very own New York Jets, who, with a 23-10 loss to the Baltimore Ravens yesterday, they moved to 2-9 on the season. Tim, we'll start with you. Just your general thoughts on this one. Obviously, end of the first half, there was so many positives to take away. Probably the best half of defense that the Jets have put together all season long. They were up 7-3. They hadn't had a lead. I think it was something crazy. Like the last 11 or 12 times that the Jets had led at half in a football game, they ended up winning. That was not the case in this game. As really the whole flip script, and there was a few turning points throughout that game, but most of them happened early in the third quarter there. But beyond that, what did you think of the effort overall from the Jets? Were you I don't want to say proud of the way they played, but were you pleased with the way that they showed up? It felt like there was some fight in them yesterday.
I was actually very proud, man. I mean, we could have just gave up. We couldn't have, we led Lamar Jackson, which he's won 5 games in a row. He's hot as a pistol. We led him to 3 points in a whole half. I was shocked. I mean, shocked. I thought he was going to kill us. I thought he was going to run around us. I thought it was going to be touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. I was like, Jets are up 7-3 against the Baltimore Ravens at halftime. I was honestly very proud, man. Like, I call me crazy. I thought we had a chance of winning the game. I was that confident. Like at halftime, I was like, "Wow, we do this."
I looked at half. We had the Ravens. I'm like, I know. I was joking with my buddy. He's a Giants fan, so we're watching these games together, just yelling, laughing, feeling all the emotions that you feel throughout a Sunday New York football. And yeah, I looked at half. We had a Ravens still. I don't know the line. I don't really bet. I don't bet. Waiting till I'm 21. So didn't know the line at that point. I like to look at the lines before the game or whatever. That's obviously always interesting to see what Vegas thinks because Vegas usually ends up being right. But yeah, looking at ESPN stat projections of the outcome of the game, Ravens still had a 63% chance to win at half. But Tim, man, I'm with you. I don't know. The defense looked so strong in that first half. I thought, like you said, I thought that could have won the game.
Yeah, I really, I was just, but it's just a Jet thing to lose the game, man. Was I shocked? No. Did I have faith at halftime? Yes. I mean, they ended up scoring, I think, 21 points? I think the Ravens scored. They had 18 in the second half.
23-10 final score, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you knew Lamar was bound to start playing his game. I mean, overall, I think the spread might have been either 10.5, 14.5. Not sure if we covered. I don't really care. I'm not going to bet on the Jets.
But if you bet on the Jets, you're a degenerate gambler. You're making a massive mistake.
That's about right. Yeah, I mean, I just, I wish we didn't really get any offense in the second half too. I mean, think about how many punts we had. To be honest, man, our defense had a lot of, they were on the field a lot in the second half, like a lot. You gotta put that into consideration. I mean, they played one really good half. I mean, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just Lamar Jackson's just
Yep.
the way better quarterback. I mean, I expected the result, but it is what it is. I'm
Yeah, no, they did. Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about some of the silver linings from this game and things that the Jets did well that not only make you pleased when you're watching it live, but are positive signs for the future and guys doing things that present roles for them in the future to be part of this team. And we'll talk about Mechie and whatever. But just in terms of the game sequencing, great drive. It took a little bit to get going. Tyrod on the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, the rust from Tyrod having not really gotten real game reps in a few weeks, and he's only gotten one start this year and played. Obviously, took over for Justin Fields in the second half of Carolina. So he comes in, first few drives, threw some balls to the ground, missed some guys on some little out routes, some throws in the flat, not too good. But then. What was it? I guess our fourth or fifth drive there in the second quarter finds Brees on a few little checkdowns or whatever. You're moving the ball really well. You get downfield. There was even one really nice scramble from Taylor on third down where he ushered out to the right side of the field, and Brees Hall did a great job of being his escort, laying a block down on a guy, allowed Tyrod to slide and get the first down near out of bounds. That was a very crisp drive that was capped off, Tim, by John Mechie. I think it was cover zero, little blitz action. Tyrod finds him over the middle, gets the ball over the pylon on the left side of the field for a Jet touchdown. That's when they take the lead, 7-0 at that point in time. Get on the board first. Obviously, we were feeling pretty juiced at that point in time. And then, as you documented, Lamar kind of took over there in the second half. But that was great to see, man. And let's talk about John Mechie for a little bit. Here's a guy, 2023, I believe, the 2023 second round pick out of Alabama. Now, in 2023, he is profiling as one of these star-studded, first round, no doubt about it, can't miss wide receivers. That was the consensus on him coming in. Everybody loved him. Great route runner, really sharp, good ability to catch the ball, speed for sure. Dynamic route runner though. That was the thing that really stood out from a lot of scouts and whatever. Tears his ACL in, I believe, the SEC championship game. So he misses the rest of that season. Misses out on playing for Bama in the college football playoff that year. So yeah, it hurts his draft status. Doesn't play through the rest of the way in Alabama. Then in the 2023 draft, his draft stock obviously takes a hit. Went from a first-round prospect tearing the ACL to a second-round prospect. Gets drafted by Houston in the second round. Before training camp even starts in July, diagnosed with cancer. Heartbreaking. So, Tim, we're talking about literally in the span of 18 months. A guy who tours everything in front of him. First-round draft prospect. Tears his ACL. And then misses, and then gets drafted in the second round and is diagnosed with cancer. All in an 18-month span while trying to recover from both of these things. And then he comes back to the ensuing year. So I guess this was all 2022 because the ensuing year, 2023, with Houston, he comes back to pretty much a loaded wide receiver room over there. They already have Nico Collins and a few other guys, and he plays, he's on the roster or whatever, but never really fit into an offensive system and scheme that was already abundant with people at his position. Gets shipped over to Philadelphia, and it's kind of the same case there, with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown over there really never found his footing there. And then the Jets say, hey, man, let's we send over nickel safety, Michael Carter over there, and we say, see if we could get anything in return out of this guy. Obviously a really high prospect. And man, how impressed have you been with his play over the past 2 weeks? Considering not only his story, but that everything it took for him to get to the point he is today. I mean, it's such an easy guy to root for after all that he's been through. But also really the lack of reps that he's got in these other places. Here he is, he's our number, I guess, 2, do what you will with the depth chart, either number 1 or number 2 receiver in the system, and immediate impact. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I mean, with Garrett Wilson out, we obviously need a guy that's going to, catch balls, going to make plays. And to be honest, he's been the guy. Just with that story, I mean, like you said, cancer, ACL. I mean, people don't realize how hard it is just to come from one of those things, to come back from both of those. I mean, 2 words just comes out to me: mental toughness. I mean, he's definitely got a lot of it. I mean, I don't think he ever put his head down once. A lot of guys, they would just put their head down. They would whine. They would be upset. By his result, by him playing this good, I bet you he probably killed the physical therapy. He never gave up on cancer. He fought really hard, and you could see he definitely put in the work, because as soon as he's getting an opportunity, he's making the most of it. I mean, he scored. He scored our only touchdown last week. He's been the, I would say, without Garrett Wilson, he's been the number 1 option. I mean, it's just unreal story, unreal human being. It's just like, it's crazy, man. And just with the torn ACL, these people are just recovering so fast. I mean, I saw a video of Halliburton dunking 21 weeks in. He looks great. I mean, it's just crazy how these doctors they're so advanced nowadays, and really, really, really good for the pro athletes, NFL, NBA, NHL, etc. It's unreal, man. Such a great story. He's been great.
Yeah, you're spot on with that. And Briggs, Juwan Briggs, who also had a sack yesterday, another great within the margins, little small peripheral move that Darren Muji's made and plugged in here and played. That's been great. Made an immediate impact on the interior for this Jets defensive line. We all knew that we're bringing in another really good run stopper, but he's really impressed in pass. And his pass rush ability as well looked really good. Had a sack yesterday. I think that was the only guy that was able to get to Lamar. It was a big one, too. So Briggs and Mechie, both restricted free agents. Jets can tender them for a low price next year, and they would just be unintelligent not to with the impact that they've made as soon as they come in here. Great Mechie game, because now I want to talk about A.D. Mitchell. And Tim, obviously the highlighter of trading away a guy in Sauce Gardner, who is an all-pro corner and a 3-time Pro Bowler, is 2 first-round picks in return. I think most Jet fans are on the same page in saying that value in of itself was good enough to ship away Sauce Gardner. But A.D. Mitchell, with all that he can bring to the table, was probably just about as good as a throw-in talent-wise as you're going to receive. And last week against the Patriots on Thursday night, created a lot of separation on a lot of those runs, did a lot of things really well, but had some costly drops. This game still looked a little twitchy with his hands, not quite fully there, and hasn't displayed a perfect ability to catch the football quite yet. But he's shown some things, especially with the separation. And then yesterday, I think he had 3 catches as well. Are you impressed with his play? And I want to pinpoint this question a little bit more. Free agents, what do you think the Jets do as far as wide receiver goes into this next offseason? Do you go the Tate route? Do you go get a guy with our first-round pick, with our pick, not the other first-round picks, with our pick in the top 10? Do you go get a number 2 outside Garrett Wilson? Or do you, obviously they need to do more. Mitchell and Mechie aren't going to be enough here with Garrett Wilson. What route do you go, and how does Mitchell fit into that?
So I think there's a lot of we definitely have some talent on the receivers. Obviously we have Garrett Wilson. I'd like to get him back. One guy I want to talk about is Lazard. He's been injured.
What's there to talk about? Alan Lazard needs to go. He shouldn't have been on this roster coming into this year. He shouldn't be on this roster to this day. I don't get it. I heard going into the broadcast yesterday that Tyrod has the most reps with Alan Lazard, so watch out for him in the passing game. Guess what he did, Tim? Squash. He has no place on this team whatsoever anymore. Forget about next year. He shouldn't make it through next week against the Falcons.
Yeah, I was gonna say he was horrible. He sucks. We need him gone ASAP. Send him in the next week. Screw him. I don't even want to fuck that guy, dude. He can go. I really I think we do got to get Mechie back. I think he actually has a lot of talent. And to be honest, A.D. Mitchell, he hasn't been the best. He's had his fair amount of drops. But I do think, we recently added him. I do think with more reps with the quarterback, whoever's the quarterback, I don't know who's going to be the quarterback. I don't know if they're going to stick with Taylor. I don't know. But, he can fix his drops. He actually is a very good route runner. He's very good at getting open.
Yeah. He is also, him and Mechie, they both, Mitchell's probably got a little bit more of a build, probably can high point a ball a little bit better, more physical, more of a specimen, more of your A.J. Brown, I guess, type wide receiver. Whereas Mechie's one of those elite, quick slot guys, kind of profiles like a Devontae Smith. So there you go. You got two Eagles wide receivers who Devontae had an unbelievable game yesterday as well. And I agree with you. There's unlocked potential. I obviously went through the whole gamut on Mechie and his story. And like I said, it's a very easy avenue for the Jets to retain him and bring him back next year. And if he continues this play, there's no reason as to why he can't be a number 3 in a really quality wide receiver room, be a go-to slot guy. So hopefully that's the way it pans out for him. And then for Mitchell, A.D. Mitchell, even if he's your 4th receiver next year, Tim, it's not a guy that, as of yet, he hasn't shown me anything that he can be relied upon to be a number 2 or be across Garrett Wilson as a top-tier target. Hasn't really shown that kind of potential, but we talked about his skill set, but just his overall makeup and his talent it honestly is good enough to be a 2, but we haven't seen those signs yet, so you keep him around, you see what you can get out of him, and you see the drops already improving 1 week later. Let's keep in mind that these guys have been here for 3 weeks now. 2 games, 3 weeks. So they haven't really got to learn the playbook much or do a whole lot of things. So the fact that they're already somewhat having an impact is obviously a major positive sign going into next year. And such a critical thing for this Jets team right now. Tim, it's great. You're starting Tyrod Taylor because he gives you the best chance to win, right? Aaron Glenn is not seeking the highest possible draft pick in this upcoming class. We already have a boatload of first rounders, so nobody has their target on the number 1 pick this year. We're trying to win as many games as possible so that the messaging continues to get clearer and they believe in this coach. And we can start to build those positive signs and those building blocks. And that's really hard to do when you don't have any wins to show for it. So that's one reason in of itself. But you're really also evaluating all these young guys on this roster and seeing if they could be part of the turnaround, part of the solution. Is John Mechie a capable wide receiver 3? Does A.D. Mitchell still have anything? Is A.Z. Thomas an NFL, your second best corner on an NFL team? Is Breece Hall going to be a vocal point here moving forward? Is he a guy that you could call upon to be the top running back and a guy that you want to pay? Are we really looking at two franchise tackles in Armand Membo and Olu Fashion, who once again had great games? Joe Tippmann, by the way, having a very under-the-radar season and another really good game yesterday. He's amongst there as one of the best guards in football right now. It's all about the infrastructure and seeing what guys you can attain here that you want to be part of the long-term solution. You got to flush out the bad from the good. A lot of that bad comes from the linebacker position, but we can talk about that another day. Another really bad game from Jamie and Sherwood. And as far as yesterday's game goes too, the turning points, listen, the Jets did some things well. We just touched upon them on the offensive side of the ball. Overall, defense in the first half was stellar. I think Lamar being banged up had a lot to do with that. Lamar just looked really stagnant all day, Tim. Didn't have his usual burst, wasn't really scrambling on a lot of the opportune times that he had available to him. So that probably played into it well, but good game plan. They kept a spy on him. Jets made it hard on him. Stuffing runs early. Derrick Henry, I guess he had 2 touchdowns if you look in the box score, but his yards per carry were way down. He couldn't really get going on the ground game. But it's still plaguing this team as it has all year. It's something that I thought in the last few weeks they've improved upon. It was abysmal in the early goings. Last few weeks they've touched upon it a little bit, but yesterday they shot themselves in the foot again with these self-inflicted penalties. The Isaiah Oliver PI on 3rd down to start the half. That was the Ravens' first drive of the first quarter on the Derrick Henry touchdown. Ravens are right around midfield. They get into Jets territory on a really dumb penalty on Isaiah Oliver, who was just all over Zay Flowers, I think it was. Or no, he was all over Mark Andrews. It was so blatant. It was obvious. Got way too handsy with him. And yeah, that was 3rd down. Drive went on there. And Derrick Henry goes in for the score. They took the lead. They never relinquished it. And then on their second touchdown, obviously the Jets, we didn't even really talk about the decision there to go for it on 4th down there. What did you think of that decision? Did you support it? Did you not?
This one's a really hard one.
It's hard. I don't really have as much of an issue with it as some people do. I'll say that. I do think that Glenn needs to, I heard somebody say this, it's completely true. I can't forget if it was SNY coverage or Connor Rogers on Badlands yesterday. I listened to that after the game. Aaron Glenn, it is time for him to get rid of this whole Detroit mantra or mentality. I think there's been building blocks put in place. I think the guys are playing for him. They're playing hard for him. They respect the coach. They want to win for the coach. He's cleaned up the penalties some weeks. But the aggressiveness on 4th down constantly doesn't really make a lot of sense for this roster. It just doesn't. We don't have as much talent as Detroit did. We don't have the offensive personnel to go out and do that. It doesn't make really a lot of sense. That particular situation, though, Ravens just take the lead. You want to score immediately because you want to take either the lead back or tie the game minimally. And the play call prior to that, it's not like they just did it on a whim. The play call prior to that was set up knowing on an Isaiah Davis handoff that we're going to go for it here on 4th down if we don't get the first. So I don't completely... I'm not going to rip Glenn for it. He's made worse decisions this year. We saw the collapse against Denver at the end of the first half there. Yeah. He's had worse calls, but at the same time, defense is playing really well. You give Baltimore the ball back. Maybe that's the right move. I'm not entirely sure, but I think hindsight's 20/20, and it wasn't in the moment the worst thing.
Yeah, I get the aggression. It's kind of like I said for the other Giant answer. The Jets and Giants. Maybe the Jets are up 1. I don't know if we have the same record or it's very close.
We're 2-9 or 2-10.
Nothing to lose mentality. I do get that, but I don't know. I don't think Glenn's always the smartest with these. He thinks. I get you have to have confidence in your players, but look at our roster. We don't have that many studs. Me and you can fit right in.
Yeah.
I get he's definitely a player's coach. He has the utmost confidence in his players. I get that. I really do. I try to have utmost confidence, but I'm also realistic. I don't think he's always realistic with his decisions. I think he tries to show off too much too with this aggression. I don't know what it is, but I respect it. I respect it. The Lions are aggressive, but look at their roster and look at our roster. You see the difference? Like, if I had Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameer Gibbs, Goff, I would go for it too every fourth down. But look, we have Tyrod Taylor, our wide receiver one.
Not a lot of outside receiving depth. Our top two receivers are guys that were brought in here just a couple weeks ago. So, like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's certainly frustrating. By the way, Knicks are 12.5-point favorites against the Nets. We'll talk about the Knicks another time for sure, as their season goes up and down. They're 9-6, same place that they were 15 games through last year. A lot to make of Mike Brown and everything that's gone on there. We'll talk about it another time. But just to wrap up on the episode here, and with the Jets, it's easy to look at these things. I like to go through. I really think it's just being a diehard fan. Posting multiple podcasts a week, and there's only 17 football games in a year. So of course it makes sense to go through the games and certain mistakes and add your perspective and your opinion and talk about what you make of things. But it's less about the fourth down decision. It's less about the fact that Lamar came alive a little bit in the second half, looked a little bit more comfortable, and we're really just evaluating these players and what they're doing. And the best chance to evaluate these guys on the offensive side of the ball is to put a competent drop-back passer to throw them the ball. And that's what they did, turning to Tyrod Taylor. Is clearly the right decision. Looking forward to going to the game next week against Atlanta. I fly back home. And, this is where we're at, man. This is life in New York football. This is it's going to be 15 straight years, Tim. Playoff-less football for our New York Jets. It's the longest active drought in North American sports. As I mentioned earlier, the Giants segment, 14 out of the last 16 years for them. But you got to take the positives where you can, absolutely. And thanks for coming on, man. Had some fun. We had some bumps and bruises along the way, but you were pretty good. Always great to have you on. We'll probably talk soon.
Oh, yeah. I'll see you soon, Matt. Can't wait for touchdown O'Connor.
We'll be taking the field ourselves in no time. Thanksgiving Day, Turkey Bowl Day coming right at you. Have a great early week, everybody. We'll see you soon. Talk Knicks next.